Hello everyone, welcome to another Blender tutorial. This tutorial series does not involve any of my add-ons and is purely vanilla Blender. So I've been thinking about what to teach you, everyone who watches my channel, and also avoid the already crowded content creation of making tutorials in Blender, modeling, texturing, rendering, lighting. So I decided with scripting. I'm going to slowly teach you about Python scripting, which is not scary as it sounds, and it really is just geonodes but with words. So in this video, I'm going to teach you about how to create a simple macro script that will allow you to use specific settings for an operator, which is going to be useful for large projects where you need to accurately put in uh, numbers or specific numbers on parameters, and we're going to use the inset operator in this example. Okay, so before that, I'm going to show you the premise of why this video is created, and this has to do with the newer versions of Blender. So the older versions, when you add a UV sphere, press F9, you have operator preset window here, which you can save the settings that you've set here. So in newer versions of Blender, those are gone. So what do they look like when we use random flow? They look like this. You can save it using the plus button. You can save the settings that you set here, and you can remove it using the minus button. So it's now gone in the newer versions of Blender. I've been looking at ways to add it back, but I haven't found any. So if you know how to, then you can just share it in the comments so everyone will know, including me. Okay, so delete the sphere. However, we can use scripting to actually control those variables and accurately type in specific numbers. So let's open a window. First window is going to be the text editor, and then next one is going to be the info window. And in the text editor, create new, and then import BPY to import the BPY module. And here we're going to activate the inset by just pressing I. And then after that, in the info window, you can see the last command that you use has been written here. So BPY mesh inset, and we have two parameters, thickness and depth. So Control C to copy that. First, you must highlight it, and then Control C, and then Control V. Okay. So here we have the command or the operator, and this only works in edit mode, not in object mode, and works on the faces selected. Okay. So for example, this one here has thickness of 0.01. And instead of using the if statement, I'm going to use the match. So first up, our control variable, and use thickness. No, not just thickness, just something simple. Option is equals to 1, and match option. So it's going to reference the option variable up here. And for the cases or options, case 1, so that's our 1 here. So match option, and option is 1, then it's going to use case 1 here. So indent is also important. Case should be inside the match, so we tab that in. And this here should be inside case, so we tab it inside. Okay, so I'm not familiar with the programming or universal programming lingo because I didn't read any books, and most of my experience is from YouTube University and practice and experience. Basically, like coding and then messing around. Okay, case two, the syntax is also important. So the colons, the commas, and the open close parentheses. And case two will have a different value, like 0.05. And then finally, we have something like case three. And we have 0.05. And for example, we have 0.1 for depth. And you can inset individual faces using the use individual parameter. So for example, here, if I press I and then I again, you can see here that a new parameter appeared, which is the use individual true. And we can type it in here. Use individual is equals false this time. So we're just going to type it in so we can use it whenever we want. Okay, use individual. So include the comma. Okay. So with this, you can select groups of faces. So for example, if you want to use the value for case one, you just click play here. And then you can repeat the same value for other selected faces. So for example, case two, which is thickness 0.05, depth of 0. And here we're going to try case number 3. So thickness, so this one here is the thickness, and this one here is the depth. Thickness and the height of the inset is the depth. Okay, so let's just delete that. So the disadvantage of using this method is, for example, if I change the option to 1 again, and then use it on these faces and click the play button, and then undo. Sometimes it also undoes the text editor, so let's do that again. Undo. You can see that it didn't undo. Blender's trying to undo the text editor first. There you go. It undid the option and at the same time undid the inset. So this is the only disadvantage of this method. But in future videos, we're going to create legit operators that will have redo panels. So you don't have to set it using the text editor, but instead we'll have this kind of settings and also the preset. The preset drop-down list, the operator preset drop-down list. Okay, so with this, we're going to use the power of this to create a macro. Macro is essentially just creating a single button for example, 5 operators. So instead of using 5 operators individually, using 5 clicks, you only click one button and then use those 5 operators at the same time. So for example, here, we're going to just stay with inset. So for example, before we inset using the 0.05 and with a depth of 1, so let's set it to -1 and let's see what it looks like. Oops. Option 3, -1, and play. There you go. So that's what it looks like. And before that, we're going to create a margin. There we go. There's our little margin here. And then after that, let's duplicate this line, Control D. So instead of negative thickness, positive thickness of 0.1, and inset depth of 0.05. Okay, so 0.02. And then before we inset, we're going to create another margin here. So copying that line and pasting it here before the uh, inset with the depth, and then selecting the space here. So basically, we have a margin here, and the inset depth and margin and inset depth. Okay, so with this, let's just create another cube, or actually let's use cylinder and subdivide this, or create edge loops and create select all these faces, and then we can just press play. Oh, it inserted the whole region, so we're going to toggle on use individual in just the first inset. So use individual true on the face on the first inset line and press play. There we go. So that is actually too thick. So true thickness is 2, depth is 0.05, and this one as well 0.05, and let's try it. There we go. So you can create combinations of this using this method. So for example, uh, you insert there and you poke, then you insert individually, and then create a depth from that, and then you insert again, and then insert again to create this kind of pattern. Okay, so you can use those. You can use this method to combine all those operators. So inset, and then we have the inset. I mean poke first, then inset for this part here, and another inset to create this margin here, and another inset to create this final deboss or emboss here. Okay. So BPY.ops versus bmesh. Bmesh is more powerful and versatile, but BPY.ops, its power lies in simplicity. I do use it for my scripting whenever it is warranted. So for example, if I were to select all the objects in the scene without any filtering, then I'll just use uh, BPY.ops.object select all instead of using 4.0 in BPY.data objects. Because I don't have to filter it anything, I'll just use the BPY.ops object select all. But in future videos, we're going to use bmesh and all other stuff. So you can build your macro knowledge or skills in Blender Python, and then essentially use those as a kind of Lego pieces to essentially combine them all into a larger scripting project, just like I did. So I started small, just practicing with small scripts to solve small problems in Blender, and then eventually, when I learned enough, then I created uh, these bigger add-ons, cut on all the rest. Okay, so yeah, I hopefully this shows you that the power of scripting. While it is destructive, I think it is very powerful in that regard, because with destructive modeling, you can touch the result and edit it. Whereas with non-destructive, you have to apply it to actually touch the geometry. But of course, both methods has their own strength and weaknesses, and nothing is really uh, the most powerful of the other. Okay, so yeah. If you have any questions, just the comment section below or the links in the description. I'm also planning to do uh, 3D scanning videos just to break the habit of being in Blender all the time. Okay, so thank you for watching and have a nice day.